Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll talk to a former Marine who thought he was done serving his country, and then Afghanistan happened. Now he's throwing his hat into the ring. He's running for Congress. His story is just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I gotta say that running for Congress is a fairly thankless job, and even if you win, especially beating an incumbent, you go to Washington and you're on and off planes coming back to the district, and then before you know it, you're running again. It's a fairly thankless job that not a lot of people would want to sign up for, but my next guest has a very good reason for signing up for it. Justin D. Webb, he is running for the 32nd Congressional District. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're gonna get to your reasons for running in a second, but let's start with your childhood. Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so 7th generation Texan. I was born in Texarkana, graduated high school down in Tyler, and after I graduated high school, really didn't have a plan for my life, so kind of looked around and did the most logical thing, and joined the United States Marine Corps.
Okay, so what happens September 11th? Were you already serving?
Yeah, so I actually went to boot camp in January of 2001. I was finishing up my military occupational specialty school in Fort Leonard, Missouri, when the plane struck the towers. Got shipped out to my first unit shortly thereafter. After a year of being in the air wing out in South Carolina, decided I wanted to get a little closer to what was going on and volunteered to transfer to the infantry up in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Wow, thank you for your service. And you were deployed?
Right. So yeah, I got to my first unit, 2nd Battalion, 6th Marines, just in time to be shipped off to Iraq for the initial invasion back in 2003. 125 degrees outside, no shower for months on end, wearing a chemical suit over body armor. It wasn't the best time in my life, to say the least.
Wow. So then you get back and you go to SMU.
Yeah, I moved to Dallas and pulled up a map, and SMU was the closest school I found. I had no idea how good of a school it was when I first applied, but I went to SMU and got picked up on a naval commissioning program after that. So said goodbye to the Marines and signed up to be a pilot in the Navy.
Wow, and he's an overachiever because you didn't just go for 1 degree, you went for three degrees.
Yeah, I tell my friends I triple majored in basket weaving. I majored in physics, philosophy, and anthropology. But because I had to be in OCS by September, I actually ended up a few hours short of finishing my physics degree. So I have degrees in anthropology and philosophy. Okay, so tell us about your business career. So I did another tour in the Navy in Afghanistan, 2012, 13, 14. Came back, went to Tulane this time for my MBA and Masters of Finance, just to broaden my network. And plus, if you have the chance to go to New Orleans every weekend, you kind of take it. Sure. So decided I wanted to be in finance while I was in Afghanistan. And after getting my degrees, I started working here. Some guys I knew in the Navy worked at Ameriprise and suggested that if I wanted to start in the financial industry, that was a good place to start. So I started Ameriprise, got my licenses there, moved on to become a junior partner in a broker-dealer here in town, worked for Highland Capital, Wentworth, and now I work as an investment banker at EBB Group up in Frisco. I want to talk about your better half because you have one of the best wedding photos I've ever seen. Tell us about this wedding photo. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with New Orleans, they have a tradition called the second line, where basically a jazz band parades you from your wedding reception from the ceremony to the reception. So we got married at the Ritz-Carlton there in downtown New Orleans in the French Quarter, and we had our second line parade right down Bourbon Street. It was in February, it's in the middle of the Olympics in 2018. And so everybody was inside watching the Olympics. So here I come strutting through in my dress white. My wife's in her long, beautiful white gown. Everybody comes out, starts chanting USA, USA. I don't have Snapchat because I think I'm too old to have Snapchat. But I'm told we were actually the national Snapchat story of the day. No kidding. What's your bride's name? Jessie. Okay. How long have you been married? It'll be 4 years in February. Congratulations. Okay. What qualities do you admire in your wife? That she's in almost every way the exact opposite of me. She's she's methodical, she's intelligent. Not that I'm not, but she really is kind of my better half in every sense of the word.
And you told me off camera you're a pretty hard-driving guy, and something happened recently that caused you to take your, I'm going to call it a tranquil life, and sign up for something that is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, so I was in Afghanistan 12, 13, and came back in early 14. And while I was over there, I made some very dear friends. There were interpreters and even shopkeepers over there. And during the month of Ramadan, their wives would cook meals, and they'd bring them over, and I'd sit down and have their traditional end-of-day fast with them. I got to be very close with the guys, and after I left, I maintained contact with them. And when things really started going south in Afghanistan, late August, I reached out to one of the guys and asked him how he was doing. And he said, we're terrified. They're hunting for us. My daughter can't go to school. Please help us in any way you can. And here I am on a Facebook app sitting in my house in my little office at home. Like, what can I possibly do? But I've made a few friends over the years, friends in politics, in the military, and so I started reaching out, and I got connected to, it's called Digital Dunkirk. So it's basically a large Slack group full of veterans, agents from agencies that don't like to be named, and non-government organizations, so we're helping to smuggle people out of Afghanistan. So I spent 10 days, not more than an hour or two of sleep at a time because of the time difference over there, trying to get these guys onto the base and making sure their families were safe. And by the way, this was 3 men, 3 women, one of whom was pregnant, and 10 children that we're trying to smuggle through this sea of hundreds of thousands of Afghans that all should have been evacuated. Yes. And so while working on that, we actually did manage to get them out. They're on their way here to North Texas, and I'm working with Refugee Services of Texas to help them get resettled, working on homes for them, education, jobs, and all of that. I realized how much more effective a small population of motivated individuals can do, and how much they can do more effectively than the U.S. government was. This group of people did far more to get people smuggled out of Afghanistan than the federal government ever did. And I kind of thought across the board, in everything from Hurricane Katrina, the first people in there weren't FEMA. It was, individuals going there and helping their communities. And across the board, individuals are far more effective and efficient at taking care of problems than the federal government is. The federal government can't even get us to the International Space Station anymore, but one private motivated individual can. So my motivation for wanting to run for Congress, I sat down, I thought about it and prayed about it. What can I do? I don't want this to ever happen again, like it happened in Saigon, like it happened in 2011, 2019 when we pulled out of Iraq. What can I possibly do as one individual to do this? Well, the answer came to me that the most effective way to take down a machine like this is from the inside. So I thought about it and prayed about it and really felt called, just like I initially did back in the Marine Corps, to go and do something about it. So that's when I reached out to some friends and announced that I wanted to run for U.S. Congress.
Okay, when you talked to your bride about this, what was her reaction?
She was a healthy dose of skepticism, I would say. She, again, we don't come from a political background. We've never been political. We just armchair quarterback like the rest of the country does. And as always, she says, you know what? I support you. I knew we were getting married as marrying somebody ambitious. I didn't know where it was going to go, but this doesn't surprise me at all. She's like, I'm here to support you in anything you do.
So I want the voters to get to know you. What do you stand for?
Freedom more than anything. Individual liberties across the board. I mean, everything from where your kid wants to go to school to your health care, what you do with your body, just freedom across the board. I don't want the government involved in anything that I do or anything that you do or anything between us. Not in our business, not in our personal lives, anything.
You're running against an incumbent, Colin Allred. He's been there for 4 years, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. It's not going to be easy, but it sounds like you've never taken the easy road.
No. So yeah, that's why I picked the Marines initially. The easy route's never been the way I've liked to take, the route I've liked to take. It's not going to be easy, but the Democrats are for larger government. They want the government involved in every single thing that you do, and it has to stop somewhere, and it has to stop here in Texas. We're the last bastion of freedom in the country, and we have to keep Texas free.
We only have about a minute left. Tell the voter why they should vote for you.
There's nothing more I want for you, the voter, to be able to make your own decisions in life, make your own choices, and keep the government as far away from you as humanly possible. I've been joking with my friends that, when I get to Congress, I'm going to put a sign on the back of my office that says, I'm here to break things, and that's the end of it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us your story. We're going to end with the website, which is webbfortexas.com. Justin D. Webb, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.